In this tutorial, we will be learning about dependency preservation. Now, you all know about functional dependency and what do they mean. Now, the dependency preservation is a concept where we try to preserve the dependencies after decomposing the relations. Now, lossless decomposition and dependency preservation, these two things are totally exclusive of each other. So you can have a decomposition which may be lossless decomposition, but it is not dependency preserving. And similarly, you can have a decomposition which may preserve dependencies, but it is actually not a lossless decomposition, it is a lossy decomposition. So that is totally possible. So neither of them implies the other. So it is very important to understand this. If you prove that a decomposition is lossless, it no way means that it is also preserving the dependencies. Here we will primarily see some numericals and some problems of how you would check dependency preservation when you are given a question. Okay. Now let's check whether the dependency is given in the parent table, which is F, whether it is preserved in the subtables or not. So the process to check that is, we will apply those dependencies of F in each table that are applicable with respect to the corresponding attribute set. Now what do we mean by that? Suppose table R1. So R1 table has two attributes, A and B, right? Now we will check all those dependencies of F which has the attribute A and B only. Got it? So what are those attributes, those dependencies which has A and B as the attribute set? So this one is okay, it has A and B. This we cannot take because C is not there in R1, and correspondingly this also we cannot take because D is not there in R1. So only dependency applicable on R1 is A functionally determines B. Okay. Now correspondingly we will go for R2 with B and C as the attribute set, and by applying the same logic we can say that B goes to C is the only functional dependency applicable on R2, and similarly on R3 the only functional dependency applicable is C goes to D. Because other functional dependencies A and B are there, and in R3 A and B are not there, therefore we cannot use it. So basically the three dependencies were applicable on three different tables, and we see that when we do the union of all these dependency set, so let it be F1, let it be F2, and let it be F3. So what is F1, F2 and F3? F1, F2 and F3 are the functional dependency set of R1, R2 and R3. Okay, so the set of possible functional dependency. Got it? Now the condition for preservation of dependency is, so the condition for preservation of dependency is when we do the union of F1, F2 and F3, correct? The union of the functional dependency set that is applicable on each decomposed table, that should actually give the original dependency set, which was F, right? If we can derive this thing, then we can say that the dependencies are preserved. Okay. Now while deriving this, you can use the closure set also. That is, you can apply the Armstrong axioms on F1, F2 and F3 to actually derive F, right? If it is directly derivable, it is fine. If it is not, then you have to apply the Armstrong's axiom, and by using the rules you can derive the non-trivial functional dependencies which are not directly visible. So here we see when we do the union, it is obviously equal to F. So that this condition holds, you can check that out directly, because B goes to B function determines C function determines D, and the same set is over here also. Okay, fine. So here what we can say is, since this condition is holding, we can say that the decomposition is okay. Now we'll move to the next example. So see, this is just like the initial example only, just this dependency is the new one. D goes to A. So this was not in the previous example. Otherwise everything is same. The decomposition is same, everything is same, only this extra functional dependency has been added. Now you can see directly that in our previous example we applied the functional dependencies from the set, which we can, from the parent set we applied those functional dependency which had the corresponding attribute set, correct? But here we cannot use, according to that concept we cannot put this dependency in either in R1 or in R2 or in R3, correct? In none of them we can put R1 or we can put this functional dependency. That's why we have written here, we have to check whether the one remaining functional dependency D functionally determines A is preserved or not, because A functionally determines B, B functionally determines C, and C functionally determines D is preserved on R1, R2, R3, just we discussed in the previous case. Okay, so in order to find the non-trivial functional dependencies which may be present in the table, so we have to find the closure set of functional dependency, correct? Otherwise we cannot say that since D functionally determines A is not directly applicable on R1, R2 or R3, because A and D both of them are not common to any of the table, correct? Together they are not there. So we cannot say that D functionally determines A is not a dependency which is not, we cannot say that it is not preserved, got it? It may be preserved, but we have to check that, and the process to check that is you need to find the closure set of functional dependency. Now how to do that is, you first take the possible attributes one by one, and then take the possible attributes in a combination of 2. Accordingly you will move a combination of 3, combination of 4 present in that table, and check the closure of those attributes. That is, suppose if a table, suppose X is a table which has attributes A, B and C, in order to find the closure set of functional dependency on X, the thing that you will do is you will first consider A plus. Okay, so you find the attribute set of A plus, then you will find B plus, okay, C plus. Accordingly, now considering one attribute, all the possible combinations are done. So now we will consider two attribute combination, AB, BC and AC. Okay, so we need to find the closure set of attribute with respect to all this, and ABC plus is the trivial one, that is considering 3 attribute, it will always be ABC. So this is trivial, correct? But these 6 combinations we have to find. So after this, after we calculate the closure set of attribute, then we can directly find the functional dependencies, because in the closure set whatever attribute set will be there, we can say that A will, that is the left hand side, actually derives functionally determines this set. That is, if suppose C is here, after finding the closure we can say that A goes to C is one valid functional dependency applicable on X, right? Okay. So this is the basic process to find the closure set. We have to consider all possible combination, taking one at a time, taking two at a time, up to the number of attributes present in that subtable. Okay. So accordingly we will proceed over here. So on R1 the attributes were A and B, correct? So R1 the attribute set was A and B. So first is taking one at a time. So we will take A plus equal to, and we'll find the closure. Now let us see what A plus can find. We can get A plus equal to B, C, D. We can find A plus equal to A, B, C, D, all of them, correct? Please mind that we apply the functional dependencies rules on the parent functional dependency set. Okay. So while calculating A plus, we will check this functional this dependency set. Okay. So we get ABCD, and with respect to B plus, we would get B goes to C, C goes to D, D goes to A. So basically all of them again. We get B, C, D and A. Correct? We got all the attributes. But the thing is, now we can say that all of these set, right, they are functionally determined by A. That we can say. But all of these attributes are not present in R1. Only B and A are present. So what we can say is A goes to B is a valid functional dependency on R1, and similarly here B goes to A is a valid functional dependency on R1. C, D, although they are deriving, but we cannot use because C and D are not there in R1. So these two are the valid functional dependencies on R1. Accordingly, for R2 we will calculate the possible functional dependency set, the closure set. So here we can write B functionally determines C and C functionally determines B are two valid set of functional dependencies on R2. Accordingly, we will get B functionally determines C and C functionally determines B, right? Similarly, on R3 what will happen? We will get C functionally determines D and D functionally determines C. Now we will do the union and check whether all the dependencies in F are there or not. So obviously A function determines B, B functionally determines C and C functionally determines D. These three dependencies are directly applicable, that you can see. Now D goes to A, we will check whether we can derive it from these functional dependencies or not. Correct? From F1 plus, F2 plus, F3 plus, if from all three of them, if we can derive the D function determines C dependency, then we will say that it is dependency preserving. Okay, so we need to find D plus on the union of all this, and we can see that the first dependency I will take as D function determines C. So now I have C, correct? Using C I will go for here, that is C function determines B in R2. So I have B now, correct? And using B I will go over here and check B function determines A, that is we got the A attribute. So from D we got the A attribute, that's why we can say that D plus will have A. Actually it has A, B, C and D all, correct? So since D's closure has A attribute, we can say that therefore D functionally determines A in F dash. Got it? So we got back the functional dependency by performing the union of F1, F2 and F3 plus. So that way we can say that the functional dependency D function determines A is actually holding in the decomposed tables. So this is a dependency preserving decomposition. Okay, so this is our next example. We will proceed accordingly. We will first find the closure set of functional dependency on R1 and then on R2, and then we will do the union and check whether the functional dependencies are holding or not, right? So you can check before going to that, you can check that A function determines B and C, you can directly apply on this table because they have both, they have all the required attributes A, B and C. C function determines D and E. So you can apply C function determines D, that is fine on this table because C and D are there, correct? But you cannot apply C function determines E because C and E are not together in any table, correct? But D function determines C again you can apply directly on R2. So basically we have to check whether the functional dependency C function determines E, is it holding or not. Other ones are holding, that we can see directly. We will check that in the previous same strategy only. So our step 1 was that we will compute the closure on R1 table, F1 plus. So we decided that we will do the closure of A plus B plus C plus and D plus first. So what is A plus? We see that A functionally determines B, C, and C functionally determines D, E. Now E is not there in R1, correct? So but D is there. So we can say that A functionally determines B, C and D all. So A functionally determines A, B, C and D. If we go to B, we will see that B function determines nothing else, because in none of the functional dependency B is on the left hand side, correct? None of them has B on the left hand side, so B does not determine anything, so it should be B only. Accordingly C should be D, obvious C and D, correct? Because here you can see that C is determining D and D again only D. So now we will consider all the two attribute combination. Okay, so we have checked all this, but so these things become very much difficult, right? You have to check all many possible combinations like this, but you have to observe some little things so that you can do this kind of problem fast. And that is, observing this the previous step, we check that A is actually a candidate key, correct? A is determining ABCD all the attributes in this table R1. So when you got A as the candidate key, you can ignore the other combinations where A is there, because it will always generate all possible attributes because they are super keys. So I am not even checking what are the functional dependencies. I can directly write these as ABCD. You do not have to compute them, correct? Because A is there, so it is already a super key. So I am left over with three other pairs that I have to check, and they are BC. So let us see what BC derives. So BC plus will be, oh sorry, these all will be plus, BC plus will have BCD, E you cannot take, so it is BCD. CD we will have only CD, and BD again we will have. Okay, now accordingly we will apply the same logic for three sets. That is, if you consider A, then all of them will be fetching ABCD. So we will not consider that, we will only consider the other three attributes which are there together, that is BC and D. Mind it, if it would not have been the case, if you would not have made this observation, then you would have to check all possible three sets also. So BCD plus will be BCD, correct? Okay. So basically this is your F plus, the closure set of dependency on R1. Now for R2, F2 plus. So now we have completed F1 plus and F2 plus. So the next step would be to, let me put it in another color, the next step would be to find the union. So we will check whether F1 plus union F2 plus can find the equal to the initial dependency set F. Now we discussed that these three dependencies are directly applicable, that is C goes to D. We have to check for C goes to E, function determines E. So this was not directly visible, correct? Now we will see whether it is holding or not. So let us go over here. So I will start from here. I will take C plus, since we have only C on the left hand side, so we have to check whether so C plus will be, starting from here we can get C, step 1 would be C determines D. Over here we can see that, correct? And step 2 would be, using the D that we got, I can say D determines E, that is over here. So finally you can merge it and say that, therefore C determines E using transitivity rule. Got it? So you find the union, you get that this dependency is also we can derive, and therefore this breaking, this decomposition is again a dependency preserving decomposition. So this is another problem, we will just check this out once. So in the similar way we will proceed, that PQRS is a table and PS and QRS is the two subtables. So on relation 1 subtable we will check the F1 plus, and we will get, let us say P is one attribute, correct? So P plus will have, what we will get for P plus, we will get only P. Mind it, we cannot take S or R, we cannot take P goes to P function determines S because we have a Q over here. Other than without Q you cannot use this P, although we have a P but you cannot use that. Okay, so P plus will be P and S plus will be, because in relation 1 we have only P and S, so we will only check that. S plus will be P and S, that is trivially there. So using this dependency we can see. Okay, for relation 2 we will check. So this is F1 plus and F2 plus. The next step is combination, and let us check. Now before moving to that, we have to check which functional dependency is directly applicable and which is not. So we can see that S function determines P. So this functional dependency you can directly apply it on table relation 1, right? You can, because both S and P, both the attributes are there in relation 1, so you can directly apply. But this you cannot apply. So the first dependency which is there, PQ function determines SR, you cannot apply that because neither of the tables has all the attributes together. Okay, so we have to check whether this functional dependency, the first one, is holding or not. So we will do the union like previous step only. So let us see whether PQ plus has SR in F1 plus C union F2 plus. Okay, so this is what we have to check. So what we will get as PQ plus? Okay, so you can see that using P and Q we cannot actually get any other attribute, so we could not get the S and R attributes using PQ plus by combining the function dependencies. So therefore we can say that since SR is not an element of PQ plus attribute closure set, therefore PQ function determines SR dependency is lost. Okay, and accordingly this decomposition is not dependency preserving. Okay, so thank you. This was the tutorial on dependency preservation, and once again mentioning that the dependency preservation while decomposing a table is not a compulsory thing, but is a desired property that we try to maintain. Dependency preservation does not imply lossless decomposition, and the other way around is also not true, right? So these two are totally mutually exclusive thing, but we try to preserve both the properties, and lossless decomposition is the compulsory one.